It's a Ludico, and you just answered. New season, new builds? Let me show you a build around the Sabetooth, the Wolf, and the T-Rex. So, the idea behind this build is, in the Wolf tree, the permanent bond node was changed, that it now states this Wolf does not count towards your companion limit. This finally enables the Beastmaster to have a build with 2 companions that don't miss out on damage by losing Arthur's Loyalty and Natural Bond. I also will show you how the Wolf greatly increases the Sabetooth's damage, and I think it's a very strong alternative Beastmaster build for this season. Let's start off with some gameplay, and then we get into the skills, the passives, and the items.
Man darf sich jetzt anhand dieser grausamen Aufnahmen nicht hinreißen lassen,
den T-Rex
zu verteufeln. Die Natur kann schön sein, aber auch grausam.
Let me show you how to recreate this build, get into the synergies between the companions and the totem, the passive skill tree and active skills. Starting off with the passives. With the T-Rex we want to stack attributes. So we stick to the attunement and the strength node in the basic skill tree. Increased health, which is always nice, and dual wielding. Beastmaster skill tree, strength and reduced damage taken. These 2 nodes to release our aspect of the shark. Arthur's Loyalty, we talked about it. We can profit of it with the Sabetooth and the bonus Wolf. Aspect of the boar, just a great defensive layer. Natural Fortitude, one of my favorite nodes. Huge amount of health regeneration, especially with strength stacking. Rending more takes care of all our armor shred. Here we get more movement speed and critical strike multiplier shared with our companions. This increases the aspect of the boar, so it's basically mandatory as well. Also a little bit more health regeneration. This one node we take to get to Ocean more, which increases our aspect of the shark effect. Natural Bond, we talked about it, more damage for our both companions. This helps us to take care of our crit chunks for our Sabetooth. Critical strike multiplier. These 2 nodes are so strong, they are added or changed with the new season. Longer aspect duration, aspect of the shark or aspect of the boar are shared with your companions. Increased effect of the aspects and also damage reduction for ourselves. And keep in mind, this also is true for aspect of the panther, which we will get from swipe for our Sabetooth. Up here we get some attributes for 5 point. 10 strength and 10 dexterity is quite good with the T-Rex. and 1 level to minion skills is also good. Let's go over to the skills. Starting off with the wolf. Nothing to be afraid of. The most important node, of course, is permanent bond. So we can have the Sabetooth alongside our wolf. We want to improve our hull because mainly the wolf supports our Sabetooth, which is our main damage dealer. With this, hull also gives us and the Sabetooth haste, and with Battle Cry it lasts a little longer. It's still a companion that deals quite a lot of damage, so we can take the more damage nodes, attack speed, more damage. And down here I took Shaman's Bond because we stack attributes, we have a little bit of attunement, so this increases the damage by quite a lot as well. Let's go over to the Sabetooth. So important to note that because of the T-Rex we stick to the physical part of the skill tree. So this section is of the menu. We focus around critical strikes because of the huge boosts from swipe. So we get down to the left, flurry strikes, more damage, flat crit chance, critical strike multiplier, and flurry swipes deal more damage. We don't need leap because once every 10 seconds to leap is nothing compared to 8% more damage. Increased attack speed, and up to the right we get to Ancestral Favor because of the attunement scaling. The Ancestral Sabetooth, they are not very strong, so you can very much take out these 3 points and put them down here, but I think they look cool, so I stick to them. Let's get over to Swipe and get into the synergies. So Swipe triggers 2 key components of the synergy between Swipe and the Sabetooth, between the Wolf and the Sabetooth. We get Aspect of the Panther, which is an aspect that is shared with our companion, which is increased by 80% because of our passive tree. So it deals more damage and a huge amount of critical strike multiplier. With 7 charges we get 300% critical strike multiplier for our Sabetooth and 63% more damage, alongside with some attack speed and some flat damage. On the left side we get over to Primary Resonance. We need this to trigger our Wolf's Howl to increase the damage of our Sabetooth and the attack speed. Down here we can also summon some Spirit Wolves. This is cool because the hit of the Spirit Wolf is a hit of Swipe, so we get more charges of Aspect of the Panther. The cooldown of Swipe, due to Claws of the Bear, is our main reason to reduce cooldown with our gear. Let's get over to the Frenzy Totem. So as well as Swipe, our Frenzy Totem is one of the key components to put the synergies between our companions in motion. Frenzy Totem grants us Frenzy at increased rate, flat companion melee damage. It refreshes our companion ability cooldown, in this case Flurry Swipes, and most importantly increases critical strike chance granted by Wolf's Howl. So with this node and the flat critical strike chance of the Sabetooth, the crit chance is maxed already, and remember we have more than 300% critical strike multiplier from Swipe or Aspect of the Panther alone. And down here it also double casts our Flurry Swipes. Down here we get just some increased buff effect for our companions because we barely do any damage ourselves. Increased duration, increased area. Last but not least, let's get to Fury Leap. So I think it's debatable if Fury Leap is best on slot here, but I chose it for several reasons. For once, it increases our melee damage or the companion's melee damage. Our Wolf and Sabetooth leap with us, and most importantly, it cleanses our ailments. Also, of course, it's a movement skill, which is cool with reduced cooldown and pulling enemies closer. So our Sabetooth and our Wolf that leap leaped with us can tear them down. Damage immunity while leaping is an important key factor as well. So alternatively, you could go into upheaval because of the nodes up here, where you can let your Sabetooth cast upheaval, which will of course increase your damage, but I think threaten your survivability. So I will stick to Fury Leap, but feel free to try it out with upheaval. Let's get over to the items, shall we? With the introduction of the primordial items, we choose the Tyrant Skull. This gives us the T-Rex, and the T-Rex greatly scales our companions. So we focus on strength, because strength increases flat melee damage, and due to Cleaver Solution, also physical penetration, because intelligence equals our strength. As the second weapon, we choose Gnarl's Tooth, because flat melee damage for our companions, a little bit of strength, melee minion skills, melee attack skills points. It's just a good second weapon for this build. Mantle of the Pale Ox is basically mandatory for companions now as well. It scales both our skills, strength, movement speed, and reduces our damage taken by quite a margin. Important to note is also our gloves with the Last Beer's affix on it. Since we are strength stacking anyway and have some amount of regeneration, I think this is best in slot. Obviously you can exchange the other affixes, but it should be Eternal Gauntlets for the armor mitigation to damage over time. For the rings, on the long run I would like to have 2 red rings. I found one so far, but I don't like the affix, so I stick to those 2 rings with a lot of strength because of the increased health regeneration they produce. Boots, most importantly, movement speed and cooldown reduction. The belt, cooldown reduction, and it's a good slot to get some increased minion health because the T-Rex is our weakest minion. It can die. The companions won't die because of aspect of the boar, but the T-Rex can, so it's a good slot to get some increased minion health. For the helmet, I think the Ancestor Crown is best in slot because endurance threshold increased by 10% of maximum health is huge. We don't need +3 to summon to wolf, +2 would be good, but you should focus around strength or more health. And I haven't managed to get an Ancestral Crown with the Last Beer ethics so far, so that should be on it to get +2 endurance threshold per strength from the set as well. The amulet, I think Evolution's End is just perfect. It scales attributes, movement speed, all resistances, +2 to all skills is basically all that you want, and another minion in tough fights. Let's go over to the idols and the blessings. So for the idols, I don't have a recommendation what is really best in slot. You should focus on maxing out your resistances. It's always good to have more health and endurance threshold. Increased aspect of the shark is good as well. Any aspect increased is basically good for you. In this case, aspect of the boar makes you more tanky. And on the 1.4 idols, it's quite good to have increased minion melee attack speed and minion melee damage on it. When you have the smaller ones, regeneration and resistances is what you want. Blessings. I think the only one mandatory is increased health regen. The other ones are interchangeable. Of course, it's good to shred physical resistance, armor, or resistances and health, but if you are maxed out in another way, you can feel free to choose differently. That's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the build guide, and if you have any questions, just give me a call, or maybe just leave a comment below, give me a like, and subscribe. See you next time.